Hello?
Welcome.
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Oh, here you are, face to face in this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking. I don't really care about the music on the dance floor. I don't really mind all the smokers in the bathroom. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention. So you were saying, oh no, I don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me.
Today's one of those days where I need a deep breath. Alright, so, it's gone pear-shaped, but that's okay. We are here, finally, after all that. Yes, if Tom's bot's lurking, come on in, come join the party. Alright, so, first things first, before we get into too much of anything, Zoom just decided to not. Long story short, this morning, cameras are great until they decide that they need to be unplugged and replugged. And USB-C is not my friend when it comes to that sort of thing. When it doesn't want to be plugged in, it does not want to be plugged in. And there's not much you can do about it. Go square. Can we go square, please? We've got space to work. Sort of, maybe. For now. Oh, 3. 5. Pull away. Again. Alright. After all that, we're here. So, we're starting a new bag on bag 4. And I'm just going to move my zoom controls out of the way. Oh, and I can... I'm hearing noises that I don't normally hear, so I just want to see where they're coming from. It's not a big deal. Let's hide. Hide. Okay. I think I'm about as good as I'm going to get. Welcome back. I don't know. I had a good time dancing. We'll get to that story, or those stories fairly soon, but let's just get a start on the Buckbeak. So what we're seeing so far, I'm just going to orient it like the picture in the bottom corner, and there we go, tell my camera autofocus. Okay, so all of that to say that we have ourselves the body section and the head section of the Buckbeak character, and we're on to, as you can see on the screen there, bag 4, which I believe I opened and then we didn't get into, so it's here, because I mis-opened the other things. There's no other Lego bag trash on the floor at the moment, so we can dig through this tray, and I'm going to throw it up under the instructions, actually, and then we'll get the pieces out as we need them. All right. So let's get started here. So it looks like we're going to be starting to build the legs, which will attach onto the red spot. So push Buckbeak himself up top. And 2 hairs past a freckle. That's good because I was charging my watch this morning. Okay, so we need this one and. I didn't sort the pieces, I just dumped them in the tray. So I guess I have to pour them out so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So, one of our fine friends, Dadcraft, who kind of, is the root of all my streaming. Well, I shouldn't say the root of. Fantastic Chalk Fox gets the nod for that one. But one of the people who encouraged me, and sort of with the Emperor Palpatine do it kind of thing, was saying recently that he was trying to build a Lego-like set on camera, and I haven't had time to go back and watch the VOD yet, but he had a bit of a challenge with one of the sections of his structure, and before he got flustered about it a little bit, he was saying that he didn't quite understand how people who do this sort of thing all the time can be comfortable with it and how we can talk to chat. I was thinking about that last night, and one of the things that makes a huge difference for me was definitely something he doesn't have access to. I did look it up this morning on my phone, and so basically, long story short, is I try my best to keep up with chat by having digital instructions. This is part of why you guys see the PDF in the corner rather than me using a paper booklet, is because then I'm a little more heads up and I can actually see one of my various chat feeds, so I'm less likely to lose the thread. 2, I'm slowly learning to become more okay. Still never will be okay with, but more okay with rambling on about virtually nothing and making a long story out of something short, even though I say it's going to be to make a long story short. But I'm slowly learning to be more, maybe okay with it isn't the word with it, because I'll never be okay with it. More used to. Here, let's just dump this out because I'm not finding anything. But yeah, I'm getting definitely more used to doing that. Which, the resulting effect is the fact that, I can go on and on ad nauseum. Ad nauseum is appropriate because sometimes I think about that indirectly translating to till it makes you sick. But I can go on and on about something quite long. It's great. Geek Out has swapped. We're now to question being for female authors. I should know this. I can only think of one at the moment. Thematically related as well. It's J.K. Rowling, although, yeah, she's about as modern feminine as you can get. Anyway, we've also trying to figure. Oh, what is her name? It's gonna bug me. I was just reading, or rereading, I guess, parts of a Sherlock Holmes pastiche, I guess is the word, by Bonnie McBride. That's what I'm thinking of. Perfect, got it. I was gonna say it was gonna bug me, so I couldn't remember it, but no, actually, it's fine. And her first one is actually a very nice one. It's called Unquiet Spirits, and it's a really neat one. It's not actually about spirits per se. It's just unquiet bits and bobs, I guess, of life. But yeah, there's more to it than that. But it does involve mansions and homes and Watson and all the other jazz. So yeah, my favorite thing. I love it.
There goes the channel. ITT Tom just raided with 19 pairs of eyes. Welcome in, Raiders.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
Howdy.
Tom and the 40 eyes. Hey, Grief. Seriously, Tom, you know, if I got you for Secret Santa this year, I wouldn't know what to get you, but I would certainly do something a little over the top.
Hello.
Whatever that happens to be. Welcome on in, Raiders. Drop, drop, drop. The sounds are sounding really weird to me, but it could just be that I'm actually hearing the parachute openings properly for a change. So I don't know. But you'll have to let me know about that one. So good morning. Let's pause and say hello to our fine friends. So we have Tom, of course. Thank you ever so much again. Can't say enough about you. Yellow, good day to you, sir. Welcome on in. And Jay, good to see you. Hope you had a great day. Let's see. What does Osmond have to say about Tom? We're going to be on Windows Solitaire. Woo! Dive into Minecraft, enjoy some laughs, and witness some gaming magic. And thank you, sir. What else have we got? Okay, and I need to know how Tom's stream was. Always do. Good day, you Mama Bear. Hello, welcome to Monday. Wolfen, Tom Raid. So, are you shopping today, Wolfen? And did you dance and sing? Inquiring minds want to know. Howdy. Okay, my hello thing went a little bit wackadoodle. I'll check that one out later. Grief, Mom. Okay, I'm just looking at the landing things. Tom, not bad. Not bad at all. Fox? Fantastic Sherlock Fox? What do we do with a 99.73 parachute landing? I've never done anything with that, but maybe we should do something with that. Not a Taylor Swift era doll. That's rude. I did see magazines on the shelf yesterday, or a couple days ago when I was in... I guess it was yesterday. When I was in Walmart. And I totally thought about Tom, and I was like, nah, I don't think shipping him physical magazines would work too well. It's not about the cost of the price. It would be... There's a joke that goes a ways, and then there's a joke that went a little too far, and even I didn't like the covers of these Swiftie magazines. Which is saying something, because I'm usually pretty tolerant of magazine covers. Truth, Tom would love a classic iOmega zip drive, still in original box. Well, as long as it's not been rained on, then I think it's all good. Okay, Delphin. Oh, jeez. Okay, Wolfen. I am curious. What were you humming and singing to at the time? I'm kind of curious about that. Tom did some autocrafting setup and relocated your mob drop item sorting streams. Ooh. You know, I learn a lot every time I watch you do that kind of stuff. Even when it doesn't quite go the way you planned, I learn from that as well. So, always a good thing. I wish I could, I shouldn't say had more time in the day, because I know what I'd be doing with it. I'd be watching all the VODs I missed and catching up with my YouTube list and not doing much of anything. So, yeah. Maybe it's good that there isn't more time in the day. But I would definitely spend a lot of it watching Tom VODs. Yeah. There's a lot there, but you know, it's funny when they say, when you go, you know, the whole point, not the whole point, but some people say the point to existence is to make sure that when you go, whatever you've done or experienced or whatever that you have is that you have no regrets. Well, at this point, I would say yes, I have regrets, but the reason I have regrets is because I didn't get to watch enough VODs from all my favorite streamers. So yeah, at least that's the Monday morning feeling today. Jay's response to the Geek Out, Julie Kagawa, Danielle Steele, Ali Sparks, and Rolling, of course. Tom was working Redstone, and we built this city. We've built this. Okay, well, that I might groove to as well. So yeah, you wouldn't be the only one. We might have said we built the scene on top of Redstone. She may or may not have turned to look at me funny. I didn't stop to check. I actually have had people look at me funny. But then again, I guess maybe an excuse. I don't know. People don't know it, sort of thing, when you go to a shop. But I used to be one of those weird people that you'd catch slightly, moving or dancing to what I was listening to when waiting for the bus or waiting for the train or whatever. One of the things that I learned years and years and years ago when I started clog dancing, that sounds really weird, when I started clogging, just the instructor I had was talking about when you're tired and you have to sit down in class because you were just too tired to continue, then you needed to keep dancing. So how do you keep dancing, And they're saying, we're not talking senior style, what do they call them, chair, sit and be fit kind of chair aerobics. I mean, you could do that if you want to. Some of our dancers do. But for those of us that are coordinated enough, we actually learned to, for lack of a better term, hand dance. It's not really the word, but it did the trick. So I'd be that person either standing at the bus stop and doing micro movements with my feet, or sitting in a chair, or even standing, at the bus stop and doing that stuff like that with my hands on my lap. So it looks really weird. I don't do it all the time, but yeah, I've had people look at me really funny for that. And so I don't usually strike up a whole conversation, but I just kind of go, oh, yeah, I'm a dancer and I'm trying to work out one of the steps. And they're like, what? And they still kind of give you this, like a knowing, okay, she's crazy, kind of nod and smile. And the conversation ends. As an introverted person, yes, you wouldn't believe that, but as an introverted person, that was fantastic. Because you could be 100% honest about what you were doing, but it was enough to make people think you're weird, so they didn't keep the conversation up. And it's like, well, I don't really feel like talking to you either, so we'll just tell you what's going on. If you don't like it, well, tough cookies. This one, that one. With this on top, right? And the bit I'm not finding at the moment is that right-hand side triangle hangs over the edge. It's a single piece. It's like one by two with a claw. Oh, there it is. So this was what I was having problems finding. Yeah. It was the other side up, so of course I couldn't see it. Right? Alright. So yeah, I've had people look at me funny for all sorts of stuff. I don't sing out loud as much as I used to, but I have done that. But my daughter does that. Not as much in public, but definitely does that around the house. And I'm trying to be nice, but I've done piano and guitar, and I've led choir for youth, so it kind of bugs me when people sing off key. She's not a horribly off key singer most of the time, but like a lot of people, she's off key when she can't hear herself. But she loves to sing along to music on her headset. Both ears covered. I can't get her to wear just one side or anything like that. And yeah, so that's when she becomes off key. The other thing is she's inherited from me the ability to hear harmonies, which doesn't sound all that exciting in the grand scheme of things. But what it means in terms of being on key or off key is sometimes it can sound like you're off key if you're repeatedly jumping lines. So either you're with the harmony line or you're trying to jump around and hear the melody line. But it's never consistent, and that ability can make you really off key sometimes because it's like enunciation. Mike would understand that, yeah. So it's like enunciation where when you're not enunciating your words very clearly and they sort of slide from one to the other, mushmouth-ish, when you're jumping lines in a song, or like melody to harmony and such, you're going to be off key because of all the stuff that you slip through in the middle. Like, I can hear the difference. Of course. You know, she's not quite a teen yet, so like we got preteen going on. but she has definitely developed that teenage scowl. So in other words, I comment on her singing far less than I used to, but I have told her outright, just simply, hey, when you have your headset on and you can't hear yourself, please either do not sing along or make some effort to be sure you can hear yourself as well, because otherwise to everybody else who can't hear you, you sound very off-key. You know, I get the dirty scowl and then she does something about it by, you know, usually just leaving the room. Not very nice of me, but it works. But yeah, she does do that in public too. It's kind of funny. On the other hand, it doesn't help me one whit in terms of trying to keep up on what kind of music she listens to with her friends. I have no idea at all. That's part of it is because some of the stuff she listens to is the same sort of stuff everybody else in the house would listen to. Other times it's stuff that she thinks we wouldn't approve, not because of any bad lyrics or anything like that. She's very good at not having bad lyrics. Or, not the word. Bad lyrics isn't the word. More mature themes, I guess, and content. She's very good at not saying that. It's just not her bag. So I don't have to worry very much about that. I think she's picked that up from me. That I don't really like that kind of stuff myself. But she thinks we won't like it because she's going through a phase where almost everything she listens to that her friends recommend, even when it's in English, it comes out sounding like it's all, you know, K-pop anime music. At least that's the stuff that I hear recommended to her, kind of thing, like she says. Although she does pick up, she's not a Glee kid, as in like liking that music, but similar concept. I mean, she is very much into one called a group called One Voice Children's Choir. They do very, very great stuff. Like I've watched some of the videos and seen and listened to some of their songs, and it's not bad at all. But it's definitely covers of things. And it's like, well, do you like the real one? No. Oh, okay. Well, fine, suit yourself. So rather than having just some other smaller models would have this section be the 3 clawed toes and call it a day. I think I've actually got a what do you call it, brickhead that did that for this very character. But this one is very much a brick built thing with pads and stuff. I like that. You have a neat design. So do we have to do this 4 times? Oh, not quite. Okay. So head's going this way. We're tipping this over and rotate. What? Because I did that wrong. So it's very posable, right? Like we can eventually make him stand up and do whatever we want. So we're just going to start by clipping her on and see what happens. At least when I put something on, I don't feel like it's going to break. DC had a big challenge with that last night. Although, one of the things he does differently than I do, and it's not a good or bad, just different. What is that? I think it's chocolate? One of the things he does different is, I'm very fidgety, I guess. In a way that means that when I'm doing Lego, like while I'm looking for the next piece, I'm sitting here squishing this one. It's just a habit I've got, but it does mean that sandwiching bricks together is a little bit more of a thing. And there were 2 or 3 little spots last night that I don't think necessarily were ones that fell apart for DC, but they're ones where I kind of went, I don't know if that's going to stick. And then when things fell apart later, part of me was going, did it fall apart at that spot? Or did it fall apart because that spot wasn't taking the weight it should? Yeah. That's one of the things I did with the Green Goods Bank when I got it, was double check a lot of the layers and like go squishing the walls together and stuff just to make sure that everything stood up. And found a couple of pieces where obviously the model had come apart during transit when it was sold to the used shop, because the people there, or because a couple of the columns and stuff were on in the wrong direction, and those, so that by having them in the wrong direction, oops, I did this, by having them on in the wrong direction, then they wouldn't snap in properly. And it was pushing a lot of the other sections of the model out of whack. Come on. There we go. Poor Wolfen had to put up with that preteen skull all weekend from her kids. Wow, they can, yeah, Osmond's got it. Kids definitely do have their moods. Sounds like a fun weekend despite the skulls. Yeah, the scowling is not fun, but hopefully the other activities you got up to were more fun than that. Well, I can always hope. Pretend isn't the word because I have no knowledge, but hope. I had a blast this weekend. Now, I will admit, looking around the room, aside from one lady who brought her grandkids, like her daughter and her grandkids showed up for part of the dance weekend, I think there was one lady in the entire place that was younger than me. Just one. So unfortunately up here, clogging is becoming an aging activity, which is a bit of a shame. It's definitely a bit of a shame. Not everybody up in Canada knows about clogging, so it's just not cool. The groups that I've known that have the most identification with clogging, weirdly enough, happen to be some of the Latter-day Saints. And I don't know why that is. It's not just because I found out about clogging from them. It just happens to be that was the group, and it's every other ones I run into, they're some sort of like strongly believed group, and it's not necessarily always religious per se. I mean, we had a bunch of other ones too. But anyway, the long and the short of it was it surprised me. But we were talking about why that is, and I think up here a lot of cultural groups have basically virtually clogging by a different name, and so we can watch each other and realize, oh, hey, the dance style they're using is very much basically just plugging steps. And so by not realizing it's generally the same thing, then they're not necessarily like we're not realizing it's as spread across the country as it is. So I kind of wish that we'd be able in Canada to collect up what the various name types are and then hold a national dance convention. We do have one, but a national dance convention labeling and or marketed to all the groups. So like, for example, I know we've got an ad in sub 2 minutes, but for example, in Manitoba, the province, there is Métis groups, so those would be the Native and French backgrounds, but they've got a cultural dance that is basically, it's the Red River Jig, they call it, but it's almost identical to clogging. There's maybe like 2 minor differences. So we've had people that learned the Red River Jig and then came back and taught their clogging class the exact same dance. And they said, oh yeah, okay, this is, the such and such. And the cloggers were like, yeah, okay, great. Took them 20 minutes to pick it up. That's it. And the jiggers were like, are you kidding me? I spent X number of years learning that. And they're like, well, yeah, but we've done this for, forever. So it's a horse of a different color, I guess. And it's just one of those things where I think we'd probably have a better uptake. The other problem is, in some parts of the country, clogging is not considered cool up here. Clogging isn't hip-hop. Clogging isn't interpretive dance. Clogging isn't breaking. Clogging isn't stomp, although that's the closest thing that a lot of public people think of up here. So it's just a non-thing. To the point where, like, a lot of our dancers now, it's also thought of as for old people. So there's, like, square dancing is often thought of as for old people. Even though there's a modern style that has nothing, I shouldn't say nothing, but, like, they have a lot more modern music and a lot more, not always country music. And the stereotype up here amongst youth seems to still be that square dancing is for old people. Clogging is for old people. So we have ones where the seniors are now, some of them who love to collect t-shirts, are wearing shirts that say things like, clogging is not a plumbing problem. There's a lot of other puns. on dance step names. So there's one there's a step called a fancy double, and quite literally it's just a couple of brush step movements and a stomp dance. Nothing too exciting. But people are now wearing like there's one that said on it was it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Make mine a fancy double, and then they have a picture of shoes. It's just so we're getting a lot of bad pun shirts like that just because people don't care, and since the public perception is that it's for old people,
Ads
then
are
they can get away
starting.
with all kinds
Dylan
of
will
bad
continue the
jokes.
conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
There we go. So we're getting on to another section of the leg for those of you that are stuck with ads. The ads label is unfortunately in this particular screen under the Lego instructions. So let me just see if I can fix that. Get rid of that. That alerts. These have to go. Oh, there we go. That's better. Sorry that it's yellow on white. That I hadn't thought about that one. Normally it's up against black. Alright, so we've got get my own building here and getting all the pieces wrong. It's not helping. But pursuant to Deadcraft's bonus stream last night, working on his Weebrick helmet, as I mentioned at the start, had a bit of a challenge toward the end, and part of my brain just wants to keep chewing on that one over and over and over again, because it becomes, I love mysteries, as in mystery books, mystery puzzles, mystery stuff like that, and as you can see, I like doing things with my hands when I can. So my brain was chewing on it, going, okay, I bet you if I go through the VOD, potentially, being able to pause, whatever, and look at the instructions, I bet you I could figure out what went wrong and what needs to not go wrong in order to fix things. But there's also one piece that I did figure out that was done incorrectly, not unfortunately, but it wasn't something that would actually solve the problem. To even bring it up, it makes no difference whatsoever to the look of the model. Well, look, I guess the only thing that makes difference too. It doesn't make any difference to the problem he was trying to solve. So just a couple of flat panels were put on a 90-degree orientation, incorrect to the pictures. But as we pointed out earlier on in the stream when people were chatting, it makes no difference whatsoever because it's just two rectangles that make a square. So whether it's 90 degrees one way or 90 degrees another way does nothing. So the fact that that's different, it just became a distractor when I was trying to figure out the other part of the challenge that he was having. And even if I did figure it out, it'd be... Yeah. I'm not a Lego police. It's just that it became a puzzle that I need to solve in my head. Or see solved. Even if he does it, which he will. But it's just one of those things. So yeah, I was going to say, it haunted me a little bit last night. Just simply that I kept thinking about it. I went to bed thinking about it. Part of me was also saying, I have no idea if some of these issues are just Weebrick issues, or if there's anything to the notion that maybe some of it could be because, as far as I know at least, DC's not built a helmet model before. Like, it does make me wonder if he at some point built one of the, say for example, one of the Star Wars helmets they've got. There's a couple of different ones out there. Would there be similar challenges? Just maybe it's a helmet thing. I do not know. Oh, now that I know where this is going, maybe it's a helmet thing. So I don't know, but part of me wonders, and it's not worth spending the dollars to figure out if that type of build is not your thing. And I hope DC finds a good home for this particular model after he's done with it, because I can't exactly see it fitting into his collection, which at the moment appears to have potential for storage issues, just because he's getting an awful lot of parts that he's needing to store in various different bins. I will say I had a bit of a smile on the weekend, though, because at one point, Dadcraft actually had sent me a picture of one of his finds in some of his loose Lego. It was most of a figurine, and he was just kind of curious if I knew who it was or what it was. Of course, figured that out. I happened to be between dance songs and was just checking my phone to make sure everything was okay, because I was actually off and on trying to lurk streams, even though I couldn't really pay attention. So on one of my lurk checks, I saw that he'd sent me this message, and so I identified his figure for him. And then he sent me little pictures as he found the rest of the parts he was looking for, which is pretty cool. And it's, I'll let him tell you more about it at some point if he feels he wants to. But he was finding some stuff from one of the Lego Harry Potter sets, and so it was kind of interesting, because it happens to be one of the sets I owned, and so of course being out of town I couldn't take photos or whatever, but as soon as I got back in, well, I don't know if it was as soon as, but when I got back in yesterday, of course I nipped downstairs and took photos of the completed figure and the set it came from and stuff. Bag 5, alright. So I know I only have one bag 5, so I should be able to get the correct thing. Bag 5, indeed. Oh. So Disney Pixar is our Geek Out animation. Name 2 characters who wear jackets or coats. Well, now here's the question: are we going to be picky enough to say that it's we need to specify Pixar, or are we going to keep it wide open to Disney in general? Done. When I think of Disney Pixar, not much comes to mind for coats. What's his name? Carl from Up. The old guy. I think. Oh, that's under them. So Carl from Up. We got a lot of these parts on the table, which way they're not impeding other things. That probably would be a jacket. It could be both, yes. Could be both. But we have one that we know it's a Pixar piece. Let's see what else. Think of. Yeah, Up isn't the one I can think of at the moment that did that. There's probably 1 or 2 from Toy Story. Definitely Cars did not wear jackets. I mean, that would be just weird. Okay. Bag 5. So we're on to I'm going to assume the other 2 legs. They've got different hinge styles, which is nice. And we've got Technic pins in this one. What are we putting here? This. We've got a ball joint in the center. Interesting. Oh, lighting is kind of loopy for this morning. Not quite sure why, but I got light coming from sort of what's the top of the screen for you guys, and which is great because normally I have too much lighting coming over my shoulder. You can guess where that went. There we go. This all the way through? Okay, we are. It's interesting they got that joint thing because it doesn't turn. Oh, great. Got it pinned, but now it's stiff enough. There we go. It's hard to get all the way in. That's not coming out easily, I'll tell you that. If it's supposed to rotate, we're gonna have problems. Interesting tunes. What do we got? Flashing Lights by Daxton. Okay. True, just about any classic Disney princess wore coats, yes, for sure. Okay. I get why they did this. Seriously, Lego, it looks like it should be 2 pieces. Not easy to find because of that, but it's because they needed these pieces lower than it would be if you had a plate on top and the whole thing thinner. I mean, if you just had, a single portion, it would be weird, like it doesn't quite fit. They molded them as one. I'm glad I found it as quickly as I did. If I had a big bin to sort through, like a collection of used pieces or something, I would actually have trouble finding that one, just because it looks to me like it's one where it's two pieces that have been stuck together, nobody bothered to peel them apart when they threw them in the bin. Oops, and wrong side. I will admit, though, I really felt for DC last night when he was working on his helmet and was concerned about errors he may or may not have made several steps back. I mean, any of you guys that have watched me long enough know that I get distracted on some sort of ramble or on actually conversing.
Hello there.
Like targeted conversation, and miss it altogether. And then it's like 6 or 7 steps down the road, I'm like, oh, that's on the wrong side, and we gotta roll it back. Hello, Reckless Byron. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. Today we're just puttering around with working on a Buckbeak model. I already have the brickhead version of this, and I think I've got, I don't know if it's from Escape from Sirius or if it was part of one of the ones outside Hagrid's hut, but I've got other models as well. I quite like them. This is a temporary hobby, as in most of the time I'm a Minecraft streamer. Mediocre at best, but I do it anyways, you know? Don't you do what you want to do? There we go. And all that said, to be that on Mondays, it's a lazy Lego Monday, partly because usually I'm up to some sort of thing on the weekend, or I come home kind of fried and don't really have the mental energy to plan for whatever would have been on Monday's stream. For Lego, for Minecraft, so I just decided to switch over to Lego. I used to do Lego on Fridays, and sometimes I'd have to cancel, which is disappointing. So by switching to Monday, then it allows me to cancel less frequently and or shift them, and then I'm just reducing the number of Minecraft streams I do in a week, which is probably smarter. I love the little logo Lego gives you here, so I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm not going to capture my mouse. But up my finger, right up there, there's a little yellow logo you can sort of see there. But that is just an ear with a couple of arrows on it, and they want to make sure that you push things together well enough that they make a snap noise that clicks into place. Because otherwise your hinges aren't very stiff. And I mean, things can rotate well, but they also don't necessarily fit, because the way they've designed the piece is too... It wouldn't be flush at the bottom if you don't snap it all the way in. But it makes a click noise. They want you to push it till you hear it click. So Reckless Byron, I don't think we've met before. You're always welcome, but if you have a moment and don't mind telling us, what made you decide to drop by? I appreciate it very much. Sure, no problem, Jake. You do what you need to do, and it's all good. I was on some sort of ridiculous train, and I can't remember what it was. It left the station. I'm okay with that. So, yeah. I talk a lot about dancing and scouts. I have the blessing, I guess, of not needing to have a job outside the home. Thanks to a lot of hard work and, all that entails from Fantastic Sherlock Fox. But the advantage to that is that, or I guess disadvantage maybe sometimes I need to get out more. And it sounds cheesy, but that means that a lot of the stories you hear are very limited in scope in some cases, just because I don't have to deal with much else. Yeah. It's actually funny, I had a meeting last night about scouting things, because I've got a camp this weekend. And you can definitely tell there's a very different vibe between the younger section that I just got finished with officially, and the older section that both my kids are now into. Basically, the program in Canada is youth-led. So what that means is that basically they have to decide for themselves what their camp menu is, what they're going to do while they're at camp. Sometimes they want to have a non-camp, as in they just want to go to camp and hang out and pretty much do nothing. Most of the time we don't let them, but sometimes if the weather's going to be super bitterly cold, as long as they can find a way to stay warm, we're on board. But this time, we actually said, no, you need some proper program. Okay, you need to actually decide you're going to do something. So they came up with some pioneering projects, basically flashing projects and build stuff and whatever. That's fine. Cool. But on the other side of that, we're sharing the space with the younger section that I just left. So Cub section, what are those ones? Basically 8 to 10-year-olds. And we had a meeting last night where we invited the Scouters, the older section, and the Cub Scouters, because we're sharing the space, so there's advantage or merit to group planning together. But very, very quickly it devolved into, hey, Scouters, you guys still, have knowledge we can make use of in the Scout or in the Cub younger level. Could you please help us plan our program to the nth degree? And that's one thing that I unfortunately, through a weird happenstance, learned a long time ago. Cool. Sort of. I didn't mean to miss your message. You're an artist interested in getting back to Lego. That's awesome. I'll get back to the Scout story in a second, because I did want to finish that. I had a thought. But, we'll believe that when it happens. But as far as art goes, I've heard some people claim, if you're the type of person that does Lego sort of my own creation type things, where you're coming up with stuff that you do, or you're heavily altering an existing project to make it yours, then I could easily see people saying that Lego, I've heard it said before anyways, that Lego is kind of possibly another medium. So you're into physical art, like a model or something like that, then Lego can be considered another medium. Now, while I would normally agree with that, and the more various pieces we get, I suppose we're returning to that ability. But for a while, there's so many custom molded pieces, like this sort of thing. There's a limited number of things you can really do with that piece, or something like this. But that said, I would have said in the past, give me a great big box of blank Lego pieces. I don't think I have a generic Lego piece on this table, actually. All weird in some way. However, so like when you used to get, no, that's not even classic. Okay. When you used to get, classic 2x2 or like a 1x2, this one has holes on it, it's not the same. But some of those things like you get in the, classic big yellow boxes, those sets, I would say, great. I could see the concept of, hey, here's all your sort of very generic bits. What creative thing can you come up with out of them? So I didn't think that was happening because of all the, say, custom parts. However, I'm changing my tune a bit now because we have such a wide variety of custom parts. They're so different that, there's one that's pretty normal. I actually happen to need that right now. But because they're so very different, and there's so many different choices with them, then I think we're back again to a world where that could happen just by sheer quantity of options. So, for example, in the past, I might have said, okay, well, if we had those other generic classic bins, you'd put 2 of the 1x2 plates together to get the same thickness, or you put one of those 1x2 plates on top of a more generic sort of shape, right? And then just, deal with the squareness you get. So this is part of the reason I'm not a mock designer, is because I have that opinion, and so therefore it keeps me, unfortunately, mentally stuck in a box. But we have rolled the Geek Out question to be 2 characters who ride horses, and very quickly answered Elsa and Woody. Elsa's ice horse, yes, and Woody's what's his name? Bullseye, I think, is the name of the Toy Story horse. Yes. Anyway, that was part of my thought, but it can be seen as a medium. I've seen some really, really cool things. I've also seen people use generic models as sort of mock-ups, physical mock-ups for other types of art. So I've seen people use Lego as a way of building a generic shape, and then they use that as inspiration to finish their other type of art piece they were doing. There's ways of using Lego. So anyways, I was talking about last night's meeting, and it just turned out that there was an awful lot of takeover, and I was really glad I was officially done with working with that younger section, not because there are any problems with the, okay. In this particular instance, not because of any problems with the younger section. I mean, there are certain personalities that thankfully I got at least a year break from, amongst the kids, before they age into the section I'm dealing with. But it was also that some of the leader personalities seem very cut and dried, and they don't have a whole lot of flex to let the kids be kids a little bit. And so it feels like their assumption is the kids are going to be trouble and get into trouble and cause problems for each other and everybody else if they're left to their own devices for a while. So once again, for a lot of, as long as we have some of the leaders from last night involved, there will never be a block scheduled as free time. And so that at these camps, a lot of the times the younger youth get free time only when an activity has not run the full course of the period allotted to it, which is a bit of a shame. The facilities we have things like there's a playground on site. We don't have any activities planned that have a playground involved. So there's going to be times where you're just not going to get the kids wanting to do what you've got booked for them. I do find it funny though, because it was actually at this particular campground that we're going to be going to where I had the joy of learning about the flexibility that youth seem to want and enjoy. Oh yeah. Set to build. Hello, good to meet you. Because Byron says, I didn't get Lego as a kid, I got other toys, but I'm discovering them now, and I think there are a lot of possibilities. Did you get other types of building toys? Where my question's coming from in that respect is, my brother got Lego as a kid. I played with him with his Lego, but it wasn't a gender-y thing in our house. It was just simply that he got Lego. I initially wasn't super into Lego, and then I got Constructs. So, yeah, it's great, but my parents have said in years since that had they actually thought about it a little bit better, they would have probably got me Lego as well. Just because I spent so much time playing with my brother with his Lego over time, which probably explains the sheer quantity of stuff that he had. Because, one toy, 2 kids, hey, it works. Yeah, so we had different ways of, I was so glad when my parents finally started buying my brother the Technic Lego, as I think of a Technic pin, just because then we could finally have pins that I could shove through the Constructs connectors and build things with 2 sets together, because there were a lot of things that we didn't have the right parts to do either. So good to meet you. Set to build. I don't think we've met before. If you are willing, please do let me know how you found the channel and what made you drop by. I am aware that the Lego and brick building category is fairly new, so that's one that is surprising me when I see, or when I get the opportunity to meet new folks, new faces. And I'm just gonna, I forgot to throw the who is up on the screen. Let's just do that. So that's just a little bit about me. Because I don't have to have an outside the home job, I can do this while my kids are in school. My Windows Update wants to reboot. Heck no, not now. Go away. Sorry, not something we want. Let's snooze the notifications and get back to actual real stuff. Alright, so we're here. But I am a bit of a... fan isn't the word. Fanatic? Yes, I actually am fairly well aware of that. Just giving you a little bit of context via... how did we do this? This is a Minecrafter normally. I think Minecraft to Dadcraft 73, which went to, what was it? Truly Bedrock, I think was the survival multiplayer server community that I got introduced after that, which then introduced me to a gal named Maribel Jade, and she in turn, I believe, introduced me to the local brick shop, who did go down to the TwitchCon and live stream for everybody who couldn't be there the panel about Lego builders, and that they wanted to have their own category. And so I was aware of the creation of the collection, but frankly put, the collection thing was unsatisfying as a concept because it really sounded like Twitch was just giving lip service to the people who wanted a brick building category of sorts. I really didn't think that it was actually going to get much of anywhere, because the notion of collections, unless, I mean, I can be an idiot. Hey, you see I'm semi-natural blonde? Or sorry, I'm naturally semi-blonde. I used to be really blonde. But
Thank you for
that
the follow set
category...
to build. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But as I may have missed it, but I did not find that collections were... So collections are a thing. That's fantastic. But they're not really advertised as existing, and they're really not easily able to... Oh, God. They're really not easily findable. We'll go with that. It's not what I wanted to say, but you get the point. And, so using that as your excuse for, hey, this is what we're going to do with Lego builders for a while, was really... I thought that was cheap, you know? Because it just doesn't make it easy to find. Right? When you search for channels, you search for specific content in titles, you search for... because that's about it. But you weren't really able to search, hey, here's a collection you might enjoy. Or even when it's recommended, they recommend individual channels, rather than saying, here's collections of channels that are currently live you might want to take a look at. Like, there's nothing that I could easily see in Twitch that ever advertised that existence. So I'll be honest, I didn't bother. I mean, I tag, but I wasn't too fussy about trying to remember exactly what tags would trigger the collection. They already have enough problems with their searches as it is, right? Like, one of the additional issues with the searching is also that we've got, it's not just Lego, and even Minecraft runs into it, is you'll see in the top right corner, I'm part of the Streamcraft 73 team, which is from a mostly Minecraft creator called Dadcraft 73, and he's into Lego a bit as well. Does not do a whole lot of Lego streams, but he does the odd one, and his community is able to bait him into doing brick building that's non-Lego, and eventually he'll succumb, particularly if some of the community will actually ship him the stuff that he's supposed to build. I mean, hey, I'd build it if I didn't have to pay for it. Sure, of course, why not? But anyway, so I'm part of that. But the thing is, they don't make stream teams easy to find either. And if you launch off a stream team's, so you click on the stream team, for example, not on my screen, but if you found a stream team link, and then you're looking at the whole list of people, if you link off of that, then try to go back, it doesn't actually take you to the stream team page effectively. So it makes it far more difficult to even jump into people in the same stream team. So there's a lot of team-ish things, or if you search for a member of the team, unless that person is actively flying a flag on their channel that says they have one, and I don't mean an overlay, I mean as in, excuse me, as in like down below, where on, let's figure out if there's something on that like that on mobile, but at least on desktop, down below, you know, if you don't have that stream team like label or whatever turned on, I don't know any other easy way to get there other than basically creating the full-length URL address for the team to find
Ads
it.
are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
For those of you that haven't been here before, that chitter chatter is relatively new. I mean, obviously I've had a bot for a while, but the fact that he can say that is still new. If there's something, if it gets to be too much or says something weird, or you have suggestions, tips, tricks, etc. from the various other communities you're aware of, please feel free to let me know about that. It's always helpful. Other screen, this one. So I'm always learning. I mean, I'm always learning. 2.5 years, I think I've been doing this. Over 2.5 years. Shouldn't be all that far from 3, which would be next spring, I suppose. Pardon me. But yeah, so there's different things I'm trying out. The whole channel needs a refresh. I mean, as with everything else, you know, the broadcasting software gets an update and therefore makes everything super janky for a while. And so I really do need to theoretically take the time to do a full-on rebuild. Problem is, supposedly, the problem is I have ADHD, which means, not to make a big deal out of that, but just simply to say that I can be all fired up about it, and unless I give myself the opportunity to get into a hyper-focus on something, I don't tend to actually take the time to completely do a teardown and put things back together. It's one of those things where, you know, you're excited about it, and you do all the work to get things started, and then something distracts you. Not necessarily an ooh shiny, but something comes up and interrupts the flow of the plan or whatever, and you just don't get back to it in a timely manner. So it takes more effort to get back to it, I suppose. That feels weird. Is it the same? Well, I guess it is. Okay. Oh yeah, totally. The other thing actually I need to set up, and it's a little more high priority, and I think Mama Bear or Fantastic Sherlock Fox or any of our other mods can throw it in with exclamation point idea. But there is, where's it going with this? There is an ability in my bot that I should actually set up where when I change topics or when I change categories in my notes, not categories, what's the word? Yeah, like picking certain scenes or whatever, that it will choose the category for me. I should go through the trouble of figuring that one out, because only once so far have I had anybody notice it that commented. But we had someone come in at one point because I accidentally had still left it on the makers and crafting category after a LEGO stream when I went back to my more common Minecraft stuff. I've never been tagged going opposite direction, but going that way from makers and crafting to Minecraft, I unfortunately had left it in makers and crafting, and some very kind person popped in, said hello and whatever, and then notified me that we were like that. And basically the impression I got was they were kind of annoyed, and it's like, hey, you don't belong. Which, oddly enough, I've actually had one other time. And it wasn't about the category as such, but there was definitely a, hey, you don't belong. I had one person randomly pop in when I was using the makers and crafting category, and I was actually doing Lego. And they just sort of said, oh, what are you doing in the makers and crafting category? And I had to tell them at the time, yeah, well, this is not a game. This is not a puzzle. And, you know, I'm building something, but it doesn't have glue, scissors, string, whatever. You know, I don't really have anywhere else to go. Yeah, and then they left. But it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I understand there's enough for community of Lego that we needed a Lego category and brick building, because some parts of the planet either don't have access to branded Lego, or else they do have access, but are more interested in intellectual property content that Lego has not bought. So, for example, I will say this: I'm personally a Lego fan because of the content they've chosen. However, I would not want it mixed together. But I don't have a problem with, in North America here, or I'm in Canada, but I don't have a problem with the Mega Bloks brand, specifically because my daughter is into Pokemon. So were she to want to be building their branded Pokemon sets, they've paid for the IP and stuff, and they are Lego compatible, kind of thing. I would not want the parts mixed in, but if she wanted to build them, I wouldn't, say, oh, well, that's not Lego brand. No way. So sometimes it depends. Exactly, Mega Bloks does Halo. So that's the thing, is if you want to have IPs that Lego won't pay for, but other makers did. Now, I mean, intellectually, I have a bit of an issue with the fact that they exist in the first place, but that's not something that's a little bit of water under the bridge. And the ones I do have issues with are the ones that basically are knockoff Lego and pretend to be Lego, virtually copying absolutely everything about them. And those ones are the ones I have issues with. So some of the foreign brands I'm a little annoyed with, because they're basically intending to be knockoff Lego. That's kind of their raison d'etre. Anyway. But yeah, that's why it's brick building. But I actually laughed about that a little bit last night because I was thinking, what else would go in there aside from like other brands that look like Lego? And one of the ones that I came up with, as I said, it would be Constructs might fit if it was still a thing. Connects, which I think is the one that reminds me a lot of straws. There is one that's quite specifically you buy the connectors, but then the actual stick part you use quite literally the straws that are laying around. And I think that's an interesting one I might find a bit of at some point, just for kicks, give it a try. I mean, as unenvironmentally friendly as it is, I have a gazillion of the unopened McDonald's plastic straws laying around. So, connectors to do something with that. Oh, I have to do this twice. Maybe that's a thing. So I could see plenty of other opportunities, but I mean, jokingly, I even mentioned the good old-fashioned Lincoln Logs. I don't know why you'd want to use Lincoln Logs on Twitch, but hey, maybe there's a market for that somewhere. Worst part about some of those companies is exactly. Yeah, no, that's I do have issues with that. So that's what I'm saying is if you want one that's a big commercial IP, you've paid for the IP, and let's hypothetically say that they're above board in terms of not stealing from sites similar to like Lego Ideas or something like that, and selling them as their own, or Rebrickable and sell them as their own idea with their block stuff, then I can totally agree with you that I don't have an issue in that respect, right? For example, one of the projects that we're just going to be a little bit familiar with is, only half an hour left, darn it. But it is one of the competing companies. Their box looks a little bit like Lego's latest UCS sets, I guess, maybe, the black ones. And I'm not necessarily thrilled with that, but their content was a Spartan helmet. And I don't know if anybody else has done one quite like that. I haven't spent a whole lot of time on Rebrickable or whatnot to find out. But that's one where it's kind of like, okay, well, anybody and their dog could do that kind of thing eventually. There's enough stuff, like the little toes that I just dealt with on the back of this. Or insteps or whatever. Those, I could see those being on a version of a helmet of some sort or other. And I mean, the notion of doing helmets is not, it's not something that I could see being intellectual property claimable. Welcome back, Jay. I had I had funny memories with Lincoln Logs. The only place I ever played with them was before and after school program when I was a kid, and we we did some weird things to them. I know some of the kids drew on them and stuff, so our set was really janky. And there were some where you could see that the stain on the wood had been sanded off, because I'm pretty sure somebody must have drawn or written something inappropriate. And so that piece was taken home and sanded, which meant, of course, that sometimes things didn't quite fit as you expected. But the things that kids got up to creatively build with them was really neat. And that's the other thing. I mean, sometimes when you see creativity, I've seen models where the original content is Lego, like it's part of the what were they building? It was kind of like a village that the person was putting together, but they had decided to use different materials. So the buildings were all Lego. A lot of the decoration designs were Lego, but they decided they wanted to do a town wall around the outside and some trees. What they ended up doing with that was they glued little dark brown 1x1s into some of the notches on some of the Lincoln logs, and then they would use pieces from Lego, specifically the fern curves, to come down from that and make a really large, actually it turned out quite nice, a really large, almost like an evergreen or pine type tree. That's what I'm seeing what people do when they mix stuff. It can be pretty neat. Well, how are you doing today? No problem at all. Yeah, I'm only up for just about another half hour, because in an hour and a half I've got a medical appointment, and no appointment, no ADHD meds. So, not that necessarily is the end of the world, but it does pose a little bit of a problem. This one will go there, because I didn't pay attention to the instructions again. So a lot of the community you see here knows me from the Minecraft side. See, this is why I should pay attention to the instructions, because I didn't actually do what I was supposed to in the previous step. That will help a little bit. Oh. If you don't do the instructions right, things don't stay together. Most of them know me from the Minecraft side of things. But there's quite a few in that community that we all share in common. Like, we're part of the Dadcraft 73 community, as I said before. And we share in common some of the interest in Lego. Some of them is just remembering what people do. Not what people do, but like remembering Lego from their younger years, or people they knew, or whatever. I'm surprised any of them bother to show up here, and it could be the chatter, it could be, I don't know, just wanting to see the sets because they're not going to bother buying themselves. I mean, I do that with games a lot. Sometimes I will watch people who play a game, quite strenuously watch them, and have zero interest whatsoever in purchasing the game for myself. I'm a very chicken player. So, to summarize in a nutshell, I play on a survival multiplayer server, which happens to be in hard mode, not hardcore mode, just hard mode. It's a very good community, and we all help each other out, so there's zero griefing allowed, making anybody's day horrible. And people can play fun jokes on one another, but if the pranks are ever considered harmful, then A, they're not allowed, and B, if a prank that was not harmful was deemed to be disruptive by the person who had it played on them, then there's not punishments per se, because they don't do that, but then people will work together in the community to help reverse the effect and or compensate for said effect, and that person just never does that thing again. We're a really good, friendly, supportive group. But when I play Super Chicken, that also tends to mean A, some things go really slow in the way I play, and B, that I don't necessarily take a whole lot of risks. This season, my theme is the Beatles, mostly around Yellow Submarine, the movie. And I've built a quite large submarine. And what else, theme-wise? I've done some carpet art. Next up, I'm working on the base. So it's going to be actually like an LP record on the ground, very, very large. And on top of that, I'm going to put, hopefully, a statue of the Nowhere Man. So he's like a little brown dude with a mask on. I am scared of spiders in real life. So what that means in Minecraft is, yes, they really bother me in Minecraft too. Watching other people, I'm much better at now than I used to be. But for a while, that still bugged me. So this season's one of this season's bigger things for me. Even though there was basically no contact with spiders when it happened, I cleaned out a mine shaft that had an awful lot of cave spider spawners, a full half dozen to be precise, which was not a fun situation. I chickened out and very carefully dug around them so I didn't have to deal with the spiders, and then destroyed them. Destroyed the cave spider spawners. But then we had one regular spider spawner that just happened to have popped up near the cave spider spawners. Like, or near the mine shaft. So I turned that one for my first time into a string farm. Actually, well, elephant in the room on that one, a little bit. As you can probably tell, I'm a fairly large fan. It would be I don't like the word fan because it's too easy to turn into fanatic. But I guess the point is there. I'm a fairly large fan of Harry Potter. And so one of the things I've actively dodged is I do not own, nor shall ever happily own, any of the Aragog spider sets. It's just not going to happen, which is too bad because I've missed out on at least one, possibly two opportunities for some of the nice theme sets like the Shrieking Shack. And there's a couple other ones related to the building that I've skipped out on. You know what I just discovered? I did the hinging backwards. So anyway, so I missed out on the spiders for that one. There's a couple other, there's a few other sets where I have, they came with a spider. I saw it in the package. I carefully, quickly picked it out, and it is in storage. I have not thrown a single one away, but you will never catch me using them. There's actually, that's not true. There's one, I think, that I've placed the spider in the model. But that's it. Like, I don't know what it is. Real life spiders creep me out to the extent where the Lego pre-molded ones, holding them in my hand is weird and creepy for me. It doesn't make logical sense. In-game spiders, of course, they're digital. That shouldn't be a problem. Nope, they bug me too. So, as I say, watching others play, fine. Me, not so much. I think I made a mistake today because I haven't got... It's part of this whole, like, I need to overhaul the stream thing. But I've got sounds on my channel that people use to freak me out while I play, and it's just playing a spider. And there's a randomizer that pulls 4 different sounds. I think I've still got that turned on even though I'm doing Lego. So, oopsie daisy. Funny you should say cautious not chicken, Mike. I definitely would use the term chicken, but it's actually kind of funny because while a lot of players, not all, but while a lot of players may consider using client-side modifications to be cheating, one of my absolute favorites happens to be you guys are aware of, but the extreme sound muffler that allows me to selectively silence or control the volume of specific sounds in game. When I was dealing with the spider spawner, trying to make it into a parts farm, that I was getting an awful lot of spider noises. Now, I mean, outside, in the above world during daytime, that's fine. Because they're harmless. Well, ugly, but harmless. In-game, down below, having a lot of them one is noisy. That's the other reason I use it, is because as a streamer, sometimes certain sounds, as a player you can handle them, but as a streamer, it gets to be really noisy. And so I just wanted to tone them down or turn them off. Right here, distraction, okay. So all that, you know, I'm curious to know if I can push through, because there's one more bag, just one. I don't know, my timings will be really tight, let's see. From here, oh, yeah, so Lego spiders you asked about, though. Yeah, I will not own an Aragog set. Weirdly enough, when I watch the movies, Fantastic Shock Fox and I have a bit of a deal. We both now know when it's coming, but if we're watching together, he can now tell me, okay, that part's over, when I can, stop distracting myself with something else. For Chamber of Secrets is the big one for that. I don't think they really reference the spiders beyond that. Yeah, I think it's only the second movie. But we have a trade-off, because there's something that makes him uncomfortable, and so I help him in movies with that as well. Going at this. That one. Then one more clip. This must be the wing. So I'm assuming then we've got one bag for one wing and one bag for the other wing. Which means if we get stuck, I might do that one off camera, just because then we can get the build done to start a fresh build next week. Let's see. But yeah, so spiders don't work for me. They are creepy. Yeah, they make a lot of weird noises. I'm going to hate them. Ooh, Jay, but I'm just love it. Love it. I mean, they are creepy, but so I use client-side mods, and that the sound is one of them. Maps are another one for a couple of reasons. One is that until the group has done a Minecraft dragon kill toward the end of, it's supposed to be end game content, but we do it as a team, so there's people that rush to the state where you can do that. Until they've done a group dragon fight kill, and then they start going out for wings and like elytra and stuff so you can fly and making rockets and all that jazz. Pardon me. It's difficult to show off on stream all the things I've been working on. So having a client-side map mod makes it a little bit easier for me to do that sort of show off what I've been working on. So that was how that started. I use a mini map in the corner because two reasons. As I say, one, I'm super cautious, so I like to know when mobs are trying to sneak up on me. But the non-wimpy way of using it is also, once again, I'm directionally challenged. It's just a matter of working memory processing, and so I'm forever going the wrong direction, and that's a huge time waster, especially when I've got a limited stream slot. So since other things will slow me down anyways, if I can find a way to save a second here or there by not going the wrong direction as frequently, as many, including Mama Bear, can definitely vouch, I still go the wrong way an awful lot. But by not going the wrong way as frequently, then we can save a little bit of time here or there. I also forget to take things with me, so there's a lot of backtracking. So I mean, there's a few of those sorts of things that I use. There's always ones too, like, I haven't had any good pictures, because I haven't had any major deaths recently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There should be 6. Or did I put the piece in the wrong spot? That's a possibility. There it is. I forgot where I was going with that, but whatever. But yeah, I go the wrong direction. Even with mini maps and stuff helping me go the direction I want, I still end up putting up signs in my base that say, this direction north, this direction south. It's really kind of cheesy. I just had it. There it is. I still, even with the very big banners telling me north and south, I still go the wrong direction in my base a lot. I don't know. I don't think I have an excuse for that other than sometimes just not paying attention. This one, that one. Or could you be a little bit more specific, please? So yeah, I've got some of those sorts of things, and I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else useful. On a group server in Minecraft, we, it's very, very common to have enchantments on your equipment so you can repair your tools without getting super specific for those that aren't into that game. But so you can have repairability on it, and of course then that requires experience points to be able to repair your equipment. So one of the popular things that usually gets built by some player very, very quickly in the end dimension is an ender, they call it. So you clobber the enderman. But those are ridiculous noisy. So while I don't shut them down everywhere, one of the perks to the volume or the sound muffler mod that I use is that I can also, within reason, selectively minimize them, so I can create zones in the mod that only extend up to a particular distance, and then the muffling doesn't apply, or I can muffle everything globally. And so for these Endermen, it used to be muffled globally, but in the last few versions of the game, they now have Endermen running around periodically in the regular part of the world, and they can be problematic. So I just have it muffled in a location-specific element. So like at the Ender, it's muffled there, but it's not general muffled, just because they're noisy. Yeah, they can get really loud. Really, really loud. I mean, that's the thing with the spider farm too. The spiders can get stupid loud. And sometimes I've only muted parts of the sounds. So for example, like, the Endermen, while I've muted their noises when you clobber them, because that's just crazy loud, I have not muted the sounds of their steps. So you're hearing a lot of like pata 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 ticka 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 kind of stuff as they are sort of, I guess, dancing around their little space they've got. Here we go. And so that's pretty helpful to make it quieter, but it's still, there's some sound there. I don't mute it entirely. Okay, so so I've got those there, which is great. But we talked about things that make me uncomfortable, like spiders. I have muted the, for lack of a better term, the spider screams. Not just the death sounds, but the like generic hissy type of screech noise they make. I've muted those, but I have not muted their walking noise. And oh my goodness, that walking noise. If that's what comes up when somebody does a random sound, as in like to try to quote unquote get me, that will make me jump. And I don't know why. It's like a weird sound. I was gonna say, sometimes I like to guess or make comparisons to what I think it sounds like in the non-game world, and spiders walking around almost sound like a weird licking noise. It sounds really weird, but yeah. So that's my best descriptor of it. To me, it sounds like a weird wet licking noise. And it's under my skin, gives me the heebie-jeebies. Even though real spiders don't make that sound. Or at least nothing that a human would actually be able to hear. So yeah, that's a part of it, is because I don't want to, I get rid of the part that's noisy, but I don't want to completely shut it down and make it utterly harmless. The other advantage to that is if it turns out that I'm on sort of, I guess, border zone, where it might muffle, might not, depending on where I'm standing, then that is one. On this one, yeah, okay. Then that is one where it could be helpful to have some of the sound not muted, just so things don't sneak up behind you. Creepers do enough of that. But it's also amazing how loud some of the other sounds feel when you shut down some sounds. So yeah, it feels like other ones get louder just because you're more aware of them. Okay, yeah. So in Minecraft, I guess I'm not one that has done Lego in Minecraft, as in build Minecraft models of Lego. I've thought about it. I know people that have done it. Yeah, but I just never have. But I do kind of consider Minecraft to be a bit of digital Lego in a way. I guess, though, if that's the case, because they keep their blocky aesthetic, no puns intended, then Minecraft actually has fewer choices of parts, I would say. And so sometimes there's things where you really wish they would let you do stuff. But I mean, I guess one could say, several decades ago, the same argument was true with Lego. We did not have things that were, as thin as the dark plate on the bottom of this. They were always at least double height, if not like a full block. That was as thin as you got.
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Wow. Timings. Reason I let ads go, some people love them, some people hate them. But the reason I let ads go is because they do provide us, for every 30 seconds, we get 10 minutes of ad-free time. Which means, in theory, if Twitch isn't cheating today, which, usually it does, then if it's not cheating today, then we shouldn't have any more pre-rolls until 5 minutes before the end of stream. Which is usually when people start leaving anyway. But it's pre-rolls. So, you get what you get. I've never done a Harry Potter theme in Minecraft. I've thought about it on occasion, but two things. One, there seems to be a rash of interest in people doing that right now. And so it's not that it's being done, I just don't feel my skill level that I could do it to the level that A, I would be happy with, and or B, would differentiate it from what others have done. I mean, at some point I might do something, but if I've got other themes or other ideas, then I'm going to go with that for now. Some of the people on my stream have seen me do things related to magic. My father is a retired magician, and so I grew up in going to conventions and stuff in that world. So I've done some stuff related to that. Never on the server though, because in with the cautious playing, I actually have confidence issues. It sounds not like that's a surprise by now. So, in with that. What did? Okay, I'm confused. Did I just put this together backwards? No. Okay, I just didn't pay attention to which direction. I built something wrong. What did I do? Because this goes that away. Hinges. Okay, I just put this part on wrong. That's okay. I can follow this now. Woohoo! I was like, where's the mirror bit? So this connects on... Feels like surgery. Is this Delenn does Frankenstein? Come on. Weebrick moment. You gotta press hard and you don't want to break anything. There we go. Click. Alright, so this can rotate. It can fold up. It can do all sorts of things. This is supposed to be able to stand on its own by now, although with just one wing it's going to... Oh, I was going to say it's going to keel over, but it's not. Nice. These are spread feather tips, I suppose? Maybe? Why not? It's wobbly. We've got 10 minutes to see if we can start the other one. And okay, so I'm going to hold this up for now. Dude, you can just... I'm trying to think which way a wing actually folds. This way. Hello, turn. Turn. That way. Oh, no. Go. That's a bit better. Set you off to the side again. And do the last one. Yeah, he's a magician. So, I guess, depending on your age range, you may not know who this is, but, a Canadian who made it big in the US was a gentleman by the name of Doug Henning, and he used to do television programs in the 70s and 80s. I used to have one of those kids, not really a crush in the emotional sense, but a business crush? I don't know, art crush, I guess, maybe? It's a talent crush, I guess. on him when I was a kid and a teen and whatever. But a name that you guys might recognize more, who's still around, although frankly, I wish he'd retire, is a gentleman by the name of David Copperfield. He's older than I am too, but one way or the other. Those are the kinds of names I grew up with. There's a bunch that, generally nobody here would recognize, but they were big on the circuit. And I got to meet them, and I was pretty happy with that. One of the more well-known, not too outside magic, unfortunately, one of the more well-known companies and suppliers was actually Canadian and lives in my city. Lived in my city, building illusions and magic props and stuff. You could buy from them, and his shop used to be, like his construction shop used to be next door to a candy shop. So my dad would go down to say hi to him and shoot the breeze for a while, and I'd go with him, and we'd tour around or whatever and see what he was working on. And then we would always go next door and buy a lollipop or something like that on the way back. But it wasn't because of the candy. I actually preferred the magic shop. Sometimes it was like I don't want to go, I'm having fun. And he's saying, well, okay, we're going to go next door and get something. Would you be okay if we left if we did that? It's like, okay, fine. But yeah. So I loved going to magic conventions, and that's actually one of the things I like too, is because a lot of kids, when you go traveling, a lot of places won't let you just run willy-nilly around the hotels, whereas when we'd go to magic conventions, my dad would be involved and networking and talking with everybody. He seemed to know everybody under the sun, but the reason for that was that he used to do Super 8 and later video filming of the greats in the magic circles. So the long story short, made short on that one, was it let me run around the hotel to my heart's content by myself and stay up stupid late, because generally they knew where I would be because I had an interest in watching the magicians. I never had the skill because I never took the time to put in the skill, just far too many interests in life. But I would spend hours sitting up, and I mean, when you're not a teenager yet, it's very, very rare that your parents will let you stay up until 3 a.m. But after the major presentations of the day, there would be rooms in the hotel where people would just sit and watch each other performing for hours and hours and hours. And there's a few that became family friends that would either go knock on my parents' door, or once or twice, I guess, I was carried up to the hotel room after I'd passed out watching one of the close-up artists. Kind of embarrassing, really, when I think about it. But yeah, so it was fun. Yes. Well, that's it. I totally agree with you, set to build. I built a lot of the Harry Potter sets, or I guess you could say for diorama purposes, although at the moment they're completely out to lunch as far as dioramas go. And I don't have the space to build a combined castle. I have a lot of the sets from 2018 forward, but they're all done as specific images. And so they're going to be done as separate diorama sets. And some of them, I haven't made the alterations, and I'm not sure if I will or not, but there's some sets that could use some alteration, because there's some minor elements that are not quite the way I like them. But once again, I get all fired up about doing so. Blame ADHD or something, I guess. But I get fired up about making a change, and then I just don't. For some reason or other, I don't. And I don't have any plans to ever, sell them. I actually do. I'm that bad person who never keeps the boxes. I keep the booklets, but not the boxes. So anyhow, you would think then if I don't have plans to sell them that I would have no problem altering them. I've just never done it, because I don't think I could do it justice. It sounds dumb. Yeah, so that's part of why I was interested at one point. I did a magic... I've done a couple different magic props. One of them is mostly finished. The shell part is finished. But because of the nature of what it is, I couldn't he knows. I couldn't actually do the proper insides. I know what the insides are. That's one of the things that I find weird about the experiences I've had, is because knowing how it's done, I still appreciate the artistry in doing things. I don't get necessarily as much of the, oh wow, how did they do that? There's sometimes I'll get that, but most of the time it doesn't happen anymore, and so it's all about the artistry for me. But I couldn't do the inside of one of the illusions because, obviously can't give it away, right? And so I did that. And then there was one I just thought was kind of fun. It was from a musical called The Magic Show, surprise. But it actually got another name at one point when Henning stopped doing the show. Long story made super short, and yes, it will be. The thing was called The Rabbit's Revenge, and the reason I built it is because I really liked the Rube Goldberg-ness of the thing. So they're just trying to clobber the main character, magician, and get rid of him because he's in the way of our villain. And but they, rather than just having somebody off the guy or bonk him on the head or whatever, because family friendly and all that, they decided they're going to have a very complex. It's like one of those cunning plan that cannot fail type of things. And of course, the device works beautifully, but because the target is a magician, he magicked his way out of it, as a stage magician would. And so, of course, that foils the villain, and he's usually your standard line, right? Curses, foiled again! But I built a version of that in creative on stream, for better or worse. Time check, perfect. Thank you, Mama Bear. Appreciate it. So I've got about, 2.5 to 3 minutes, maybe? I'm not exactly sure what my drive time is. And I also vaguely wonder if I need to get changed before I go. I don't know. Probably not. This particular place is funny. The doctor's office, that's where I'm headed next. It should be a fairly routine, fairly basic thing, but they always... ADHD meds are one of those dumb things that they always want to check your blood pressure every time you go. I get why, within reason, but it means that I probably will have to change shirts because I don't really want to have half my shirt off in the public hallway just because of doing that blood pressure thing. Yeah, not ideal. But they also have this bad habit of calling in the morning. Always calling in the morning. But they've never called me in the morning any earlier than 10 minutes before stream start. So those ones I just ignore. And while I'm on stream, I have usually most of my devices are muted, so I don't get interruptions, notifications, and stuff. There are exceptions. Apparently our house phone goes through because so few things call on that I completely forgot to silence it. I'm not really sure I want to because I can't specify which callers on that one. But most of all my cell phone calls are muted. What am I missing here? 2. This one goes there. Okay. So they always call either 10 minutes before stream or during stream. Then they get so annoyed, they say, "We've been trying to call you for 6 months." And it's like, well, yeah, no. First off, if you just leave a message saying, "Hey, it's the office," the whatever office calling, I don't even care if you tell me what the content is or not. I get you probably can't for privacy reasons. Fine. But just tell me you called. Or leave me a voicemail to say you called. Because sometimes the call display doesn't always want to cooperate. So eventually I just had to say, "Look, could you please put a note on my file when you go to do callbacks or whatever that says, must call in the afternoon, has commitments in the morning." I explained what it is I do. I said it's not like I can just say, "Oh, hold on a second, take the call." I've done that for, say, when the school calls because my daughter might be sick or something like that, or when my husband, there are certain text messages that will still come through. I allow that sort of stuff because, once again, if there's emergencies, even if Fantastic Sherlock Fox takes the call and then has to, let me know that the school called or the, whatever, and I have to go deal with that, can't find the part. What do I do with it? Hey, Swiggy. Most eager person at the top of the hour. Wow. Wow, thank you for being the first actual person who came. You know, nobody else is here. I'm just talking to a wall. Okay, so we've got the blue. There it is, this one. And I'm pushing my time as long as I can, not because of any other reason than addiction. Suffice to say that most stuff is muted, so they phone me and then they get annoyed they can't get hold of me. It's like, well, guys. So now that they have digital versions of getting hold of me, different ways of, like, because it's not just me, but they also have other people that they can text you, or they can send a message from a third-party messaging system that's like a health-related messaging system. I get those. I get the pop-ups for that. I can deal. Let's see, this. So let's see. Okay. Big bits, because we're just about done the small bits. This one. Oswin Hush. You can tell that as much as I might like Oswin to pass himself off as being a little bit more realistic, it's just not going to happen. There's far too much that he says and does that makes it clear he's not real. But hey, he's better than he used to be. Definitely. He doesn't shout okay as frequently, which is kind of nice. And he's slightly humorous when it comes to giving shoutouts. On occasion. I mean, every once in a while, actually, I've had people message it politely and say, I'm going to change it. You don't have to do anything, but just letting you know that there was a detail that your bot picked up on about my sort of who is in my stream that I didn't particularly want called out as clearly and frequently. It's like, well, blame ChatGPT on that one. So there's the odd one that I've actually got a custom shoutout built for, just so that I can avoid that kind of chaos. No, Oswin never has been real. Oswin is based on, actually, last year? Good grief, I'm losing years already. For a long time, my bot didn't have another character. Like, it was always coming out as me writing things and typing things for all the announcements, which I just thought looked dumb. Everybody and their dog had a bot, so why not me, right? That was the idea. And so I gave it a name, but it was based off of I'm a huge fan of the Brother Catfile mystery series, and so I named him after one of the characters there, who was the main character's helper / sidekick, and was much more prevalent, I would say, in I think it's ITV's series that was filmed elsewhere. But anyways, long story made short, that I really liked that character, so I just named the bot after it. And it used to be Bocker Oswin, as in like making a bad monk pun out of Brother Oswin. Not so much anymore, because I just wanted to drop that and give him a little more personality. And sometimes it's fun to have a conversation with him just for kicks. But if any of you guys have been around long enough to be aware of the old Apple personality that was called Eliza, some days he's about as smart as Eliza. But you can actually have decent conversations. And it's a little bit nicer than, I'll be honest, I don't like asking our Google devices questions, and partly because there's some sort of weird tech issue in one of our rooms where it stutters. We'll figure why. The second... Okay, I can do this. The second reason I don't like asking them is they're always the same. There's no inflection. Like, I really wish, since Google, weirdly enough, is providing the voice for Oswin, I kind of wish that the Google Home devices would have a smoother speech style like that, but it just doesn't. The funny thing about Oswin in that respect is, of course, you can when I set him up, where you set everything up, you give it a file that it ingests, where you tell it, here's your personality, who you're playing, or whatever. And you can actually, what I did in there is actually specify that it is not to break character, generally no matter what. Now, the exception being that, of course, obviously it still does all the bot things it's supposed to do. And it's just as dumb as a sack of hammers, which is part of the reason I picked Osmond, is because he's very naive in the books. And is played very well on screen as naive. Going here. But when I put it in, I said, yeah, and when asked, you can do all the things a human can do, even if an AI or a bot can't do that. So basically, it thinks that it's a human male, basically, is the idea. And all that entails. Now, I didn't specify, the more adult angle elements of these, because you don't need to. It's just not something useful to do. Oh, shoot. I'm going to pretend I don't care about injection molding points today. So, anyway, long short on that one was just that Housen's been told not to ever cop to the fact that he's not real. Which, I guess that kind of works because he's based on a fictional character, so it really is just a fictional character being personified artificially. In chat, aside from some of his behaviors being very robot-like, from one point of view, because we don't meet in person, and I'm not talking to you guys in person, he's about as real as you are. There you go. And actually, frankly, put no offense intended to the individual, who I don't hang with anymore. It's actually more real than certain real people I've met. Fantastic Sherlock Fox, if he had audio, would probably know exactly who I'm referring to. Is this guy? Yeah. Well, it's funny because there is one community member who actually has bot in their name. And from what I understand, on more than one occasion, when they pop into a channel that is not familiar with them, that they get accused of actually being a bot. And the worse AI gets, or well, stronger I guess, the more AI gets, the more this person gets mistaken for a bot. It's really kind of amusing me. Gee, Poodle. Could that possibly be your partner in crime by any chance? Maybe. Okay, so, you can see that it's all spread out wings and whatnot in the pictures, but I'm just going to fold them away for purposes. Right, but we can actually even do things like, sit down. Sit down. Tail out, buddy. You can sit down, and we're going to move your... Oh! Send everybody back. I have to play with how to do that, but yeah. You can dance, you can do all kinds of things. Can't quite sit as nicely as I'd hoped, but hey, it works. Yeah, so I can do all sorts of stuff like that, and have just chill and hang out and whatever. One more full standing, and then we'll call it. So if our fine mods would take a look around and see who they would like to read out to today, we appreciate that. Wings. Let's go up this time. The other thing about this, I will definitely give it good marks for playability. I mean, it's not flexible enough that you could actually, make them fly or something up and down repeatedly. But for diorama purposes, I'm actually fairly impressed. Stay. He's a little lopsided at the moment just because I didn't put the legs down properly, but there we go. Yeah, so he stands. He's a good size, actually.
Oh, hello there!
And given a lot of these models, like the Patronus one that was mentioned recently by Set to Build, looks kind of janky, and I would never buy, say, the Dobby the Elf statue. Most of them look really ridiculous, but I actually quite like this one. And for the scale I'm wanting, eventually, this is actually a better fit for, I've got the Brickhead's Hagrid, and I actually think this is a better scale to that, even though they're not the same sort for subline. We live in a simulation. Yes! Did you take the red pill or the blue pill this morning? All right, so I do have, there's the other piece. This bit. That's the other section with our cute little thing. I've named him Nevermore, just because I could. So we've got the whole set, and we took it to the end of the line to the wire. Bro. Well, you know, I'd say Dadcraft blame yellow. And the reason I say that is because, as I was saying earlier, the PDF makes me have to look up to a screen, which has the chat right beside it. And that makes it so much easier for me to try and stay up with the chat while I'm doing the Lego. So that's a piece right there I find really useful. And I kind of nicked that concept from local Brickshop. But I'm sure there's others that do it too. So great to meet you set to build. Tuesdays through Fridays, I usually do Minecraft, but Mondays are Lazy Lego Monday, unless I'm going to have to cancel for some reason, like a major holiday or something, so I'll push it back by one day, so there'll be a pushback in November. But for the next week or so, we'll be on time. I do not know what I'm building next week yet. Fantastic Sherlock Fox will have to see what he's got in storage, because I'm caught up. So, it was great to meet everybody. Thank you ever so much for hanging out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hear as things progress on what Dadcraft spelunks out of his lovely used Lego collection. So, rather than sending everybody into ads, let's see if we can find someone to raid out to. Who's on dock today? What have we got? Is anybody finding anybody interesting in their collection of either Lego or Minecraft streamers? Well, true. He's kind of still listed as doing marbles at the moment. Locals reliable. We may head over there because of having done Lego today. I think it's probably. Oh, Minx is on. Okay, we're gonna go with. Find that one. Did Minx just start up? No. It says ads will be up in 2 minutes. That's a lie. Why am I not finding this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Yep. Okay. So Minx did just go. We're going to go over there because Minx Nevada is part of our Streamcraft family. So they are doing Minecraft. But they are sticking with the Potter theme today. They are working on an Azkaban construction for the Wizard Prison. And they're working on Dadrock's Azkaban. So we're going to go head over there and say hi to them. Yeah, and that's just because we've got stream team people. That's why we're going over there. They're amazing. I'm going to have to run, so I will raid and run, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Until tomorrow. Ooh. Oops. Hit the wrong button, but that'll work. All right, let's get this going. 3, 2, 1. Find the button.
Mischief managed.
We can get out of here before that. All the better. I think I snoozed them off. So thanks everybody for hanging around. Oh, I guess it does that now. Thank you very much to ITT Tom for the raid and to Set to Build for the brand new follow. Always a treat, never required. Thank you very much to Swanky Potato for being the first here right at the top of the hour. Yay! Our moderation team today included Mama Bear 65 and Fantastic Sherlock Fox. We had a great conversation from them, as well as Yellow and Jay, ITT Tom, Creef, Mike Burton, Wolfen, Reckless Byron, Set to Build, Poodle Pirate, Swanky Potato, and we are off to Minx, Nevada. And thanks, as always, to our wonderful patron, Dadcraft73. So have yourself a wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.